The dude's like, ha ha ha, that's not my wife, that's my mistress. He's sleeping with a babysitter, isn't he?
Potentially just overlook that because that's the normal situation that has been happening.
She's a home wrecker. Your Honor, my best friend tried to drown me. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. I am so excited. Halloween is just around the corner. I've already come up with quite a few costume ideas. Snoopy is one of them. I mean, if you guys follow me on Instagram, Snuggles with V or Honey Hearts Podcast, you'll see a glimpse of some of the Halloween costumes I'm going to do this year. But before we get into the stories today, quick comment below. What are your Halloween plans? And don't forget to like this episode if you're listening to me on YouTube. Now, today we're diving into a bunch of Reddit stories, basically from OPs on the internet asking, are they the a-hole or not? Very classic. We're diving into a bunch of them. Today's theme is a whole new world, except it's not Aladdin and it's probably not a whole new world, more like a whole new side to someone you know or someone you thought you knew. So we got some thrilling stories, interesting stories, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. Now, our first story is from the subreddit AITH. Am I the a-hole for judging my husband after he introduced me to his friend's mistress? OP says, so me, 25-year-old female, and my husband, 30-year-old male, went out to dinner with this friend he's always talking about, and I haven't gotten a chance to meet before. Husband told me he's married with kids, and he's always inviting us out, but we have kids too. I am a stay-at-home mom with no support system close by, so in order to go out, we had to arrange childcare. I asked who's coming to dinner, and he mentions this friend and his girl, other couple that I do know, and us. Dinner was really nice. I had a great time and actually clicked immediately with this woman. Most of my husband's friends are bachelors, so I found it cool that he's friends with this couple I can relate more to. We even planned a trip during the dinner, and they showed us all these amazing places that they've traveled to. When it's time to leave, we all got out of the restaurant, but she's in the restroom. It's freezing cold, so he said bye, and I told his friend, say bye to your wife. It was really nice to meet her. He looked at me, laughed, and says, she's not my wife. I am shocked. So I go like, oh, sorry, my bad. We got in the car and I'm speechless. So my husband asked me, what's wrong? And I asked him, what was that all about? Isn't she the mother of his kids? Is she basically his mistress? He explained to me that he's on an arranged religious marriage, so it's different. And this is the girl he actually loves and takes everywhere. I am getting such a massive ick, not just from the friend, but honestly more so OP's husband. Because he just casually, no backstory, no contacts. I mean, they're going on, I guess, a triple double date because it's, I guess, the friend with his mistress, another couple and them, and it's all a great time. And then the wife, I mean, assuming OP kind of assumes that mistress must be the wife since the guy has kids and he's married. I think it makes sense that she was like, oh, say bye to your wife for me. This is so awkward. Does the other couple know? And my biggest beef is, so is husband okay with this? I say this because, okay, we don't know enough about the other couple to judge, but the fact that the husband's just kind of nonchalantly like, oh, yeah, but he doesn't love his wife. It's arranged marriage. It's almost like he's saying, it's fine. This is the person he actually loves. Something about it just rubs me the wrong way. It almost feels like husband just thinks this whole situation is fine. I don't know. Am I reading too much into it? I feel like as a wife, my alarm bells would go off. Oh, what's your perspective so far?
I don't know the dynamic between the mistress and OP's husband's friend, right?
Well,
I know they are
mistress
in
is-
arranged
yeah.
marriage, which to me still doesn't say much. For all you know, they're mutually still, I guess, together, but they maybe live separately. And I mean, maybe they're okay with it. Now, if that is a secret that I guess the OP's husband's friend is keeping away,
from his wife?
yeah, from his actual wife, then yeah, that changes things.
Okay, that's true. You're right. If the wife was at home and she's aware, like if the wife was totally okay, this is just their arrangement, then that's fine. I think more so then I'm more honed into the husband kind of blindsiding his wife, OP. He should have given her a heads up. Even just oh, by the way, the woman we're going with, not his official wife, but they're together. His wife is aware. It's all chill. Because I would feel some sort of way if one of our mutual friends, I was hanging out with them, knowing that they had a wife, but I'm hanging out with them and their mistress. You know, because I don't want to be put in that situation where, oh shoot, am I entangled in someone's relationship that I don't know about? Like, am I supporting something without knowing the full story? So I don't know. That's my take. You look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, to me, my whole opinion and judgment on the situation hinges on whether
The wife
it
is in the
is.
know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I agree with that. But do you think it's okay that the husband kind of didn't tell anything, like OP's husband didn't fill her in beforehand, before the hangout?
If the husband's friend's wife is in the know and it has been like that for a long time, I can see the OP's husband potentially just overlook that because that's the normal situation
What?
that has been happening.
What? No, that's wild.
Imagine that
No.
that has been happening for like I guess years
But why
and
didn't husband just say something? Oh, babe, we're hanging out with this couple. By the way, they have a non-traditional situation, but it's all good. Nothing's like shady happening. Why wouldn't he just say it?
yeah, I'm definitely not against that.
Well,
Is that the right time to mention the very first meeting?
well, he could have. I mean, at home before they left, he could have just said, "By the way, babe, here's the deal. You better tell me if we're hanging out with a friend and their mistress, and while they have a wife at home." Because I feel it's almost like, is this a girl code situation? Maybe it's not a girl code. It's more like, I just don't want to be caught with my pants down. That's a phrase, guys. For international people, I don't mean it literally. It's a phrase where basically I don't want to be caught off guard in a situation. You know, I don't want to be caught in that situation. Like, say bye to your wife, and the dude's like, ha ha ha, that's not my wife, that's my mistress. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, cool, I guess, you know? But let's see. OP says, that doesn't make me feel better at all because a lot of our arguments are about me feeling like the trophy wife holding it down at home while he's living his best life with his bachelor friends. I know at least 2 other friends of his that cheat openly on their wives the same exact way. And he always says he's nobody to judge them. So I told him, I just think this is shitty that most of your friends play to have wifey at home, taking care of the kids, while they're out living their best bachelor lives. And that if it was me, the one always hanging out with the cheater, he would feel some type of way too. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Does that change your mind about what's going on?
for sure. I think it sways definitely towards the fact that husband is not in the right here, and I think especially I think you're the people you surround yourself with also tell quite a bit about you. I would say not in all instances, but in this case,
I
I think
feel
OP's husband is sounding a little bit suspicious here as well.
I see on one hand, I don't want to say, you know how the phrase is, you are what you eat. In this case, it's almost like you are what your friends are or who your friends are. I don't want to say that, oh, if you're friends with someone, then you're automatically 100% like them. But it is kind of odd to me that you're telling me OP has multiple friends that have this bachelor secret life from their wives. And he's just like, oh, I'm nobody to judge. I'm like, hello? I, see, my question is OP also one of those wives unknowingly at home,
Right.
not knowing that her husband's out here, living his best bachelor life?
But even if that's not the case, I would say you are surrounding yourself with, I guess, with these friends, right? And if you say they're truly your friends, then you're kind of accepting that as well to say that yeah, it's morally okay to do that.
Yeah.
Um, to me, this is not the I guess the simple thing. Let's say, oh, I don't like a certain food, so well, who
Right.
am I to judge? Like, yeah, that's a little bit. I think to me, this is just morally wrong to be cheating on your partner and
Knowingly.
knowingly, and have friends
Ugh.
that do that. To me, is I don't know.
You know what is even like more gross? It's the fact that usually I'm used to the idea that oh, cheating is seen pretty much at least unless I'm totally out of the loop, seen as a negative thing. It's a horrible thing to do to someone, and publicly it's almost like a shame on you situation. But the fact that they're flaunting it and calling it their bachelor lifestyle and living this life, it's very telling. I just get such an ick from the husband. I know that, well, for all we know, he's not doing it, apparently. But it would just make me see my partner in a whole new light. Like if you told me or that some of your friends, like, or at least two, which is already, and I'm like, oh, you have multiple. This is a trend. Like, do you go to a club where it's like, hey, I cheated my wife club and you meet friends that way? Like, I don't know. But we have multiple friends like that. I feel like it would make me see you differently. And I think vice versa is true too. Like you would judge me a little bit for who I hang out with and who I choose to keep the company of.
I think the only scenario where my opinion might change slightly would be if those friends are open about the cheating and wives are aware, and they're in the type of relationship where they like kind of like, I guess, open marriage type of thing where they're
Oh, yeah,
okay
yeah,
with
yeah.
that. Then yeah, who am I to judge? It's just
Right,
their
right.
own preference. But if they're
hmm
actually cheating, then yeah.
I think based on the way OP's saying it, she called them cheaters. So it's clear that their wives don't know. But let's see. OP has a little bit more. OP says, I can honestly say I relate to my closest friends. They're good women with good values. I don't see how I could hang out regularly with cheaters and women I simply don't relate to. So at this point, I'm just not buying it that he's the only one different in his friend circle. I like this. OP has some clarity here. She says, I don't know if I'm being insecure, but I really feel stupid. And now he's the one that's upset because I ruined the night based on something that is out of his control and that he's nobody to judge his friend's personal life. Am I the a hole? See, I have a really hard time trusting in the husband because to me, there's almost like a double fold betrayal in a way. Because the first one is he didn't tell his wife who they were hanging out with. And I think that's almost like basic intro information like, hey, by the way, the guy has a mistress. And if it was completely open, I think he would have said that. But the fact that he kept his own wife, OP, in the dark about it until the end of the night and she had to bring it up, I think it says a lot. And the repeat cheating friendships that he has, it's kind of bizarre. Now, my question is this because OP uses the language, oh, he hangs out. I don't want to be insecure. I don't want to be that person. So I'm gonna let him live his I guess hang out. Well, I don't want to say OP says let him live his bachelor life, but hanging out with this crowd. What are they doing exactly? Like where do they hang out and what do they do? I'm very suspicious of what type of uh activities and entertainment OP your husband chooses to have when you're not around with these bachelor friends.
I guess kind of backtrack a little bit just to clarify. Why is the OP thinking that they're the a hole?
She thinks she's what might potentially be the a-hole because she's judging her husband for what his friends are doing and the fact that he introduced her to the friend's mistress. So it's almost like
Okay.
she's asking if she's the a-hole for judging his friends, him for what his friends are doing, I guess. Opie, you'd be dumb if you're just gonna let this slide and just overlook as, oh no, he says he's innocent, it's fine. But I think it's almost like it's more so he's condoning this type of thing. I think it goes back to what you said. It's like a moral thing.
Right.
I don't know that you can be committed to someone who allows and hangs out with other people and surrounds himself with the energy of, oh, it's okay to cheat on your partner. It's okay to flaunt it and go out and about and say it. It's very weird. I don't know. I'm feeling such a massive ick. Ugh. Is this a divorceable offense? I'm tempted to drop the D word here, like as a consideration for OP. Honestly, what do you think?
Yeah. For me, it's hard to say, but yeah, I don't know. It is a tough
Ah,
one. I don't know if I will go to divorce yet, but I think it could go either way.
I think something in the relationship would have to change. Maybe I'm a hesitant. It's a hesitant D, dropping a hesitant D divorce. Almost like if he doesn't change, I'll be honest. I think husbands should cut out some friends from the circle. Like you don't have to have this big old blowout of a conversation, confrontation. You don't need to lecture them on values or anything, but it's more so maybe distance yourself a little bit from some of these activities because I think there's reason enough for Opie to feel insecure in what's happening. I'm so horrified. The nonchalantness with how Opie's husband is just, yeah, by the way, like, three of my friends are cheaters, but no big deal. It's no big deal. So let's see what comments say. First comment from Maybe Typical. Not the a hole. They put this in bold. It's totally fair to feel weird about this. Finding out your husband's friend brought his mistress instead of his wife would throw anyone off. Plus, if a lot of his friends openly cheat, it makes sense you'd be uncomfortable with that crowd. Your feelings are valid, especially if it makes you question things in your own relationship. It's not about controlling who he hangs out with, but about how it impacts you and your values. He should at least understand why this bothers you instead of brushing it off. Oh, comment pointed out something interesting. I think his reaction's telling too. The way he's now mad at OP, the wife, for bringing it up when he kind of sprung this as a surprise on OP. He's kind of like, it's not a big deal. My friend's just in a loveless, arranged marriage. It's fine. It's fine. This is who he really loves. I hate that argument so much for cheaters. The whole, no, I'm doing this for family. Like as if you're doing it some sort of noble cause. You're an adult. In my opinion, okay, you can have family pressures, but once you commit to the relationship, it's your name on the marriage license. You said I do to the altar or at the altar, I guess, however, whatever cultural ceremony you do. You agree to have someone as your wife or your partner, right? I think there's responsibility in that. I don't think it's fair to say, oh, my parents wanted this or I was put in this situation. You agreed. So I hate it when you have some of these scenarios and then they cheat. They don't let the partner know. It's not some sort of pre-existing, like agreed upon, like arrangement where it's open. And then when they get caught, they say, oh, I'm in a loveless marriage or I was in an arranged marriage. I'm like, well, you could always do what normal people do, which is either grow a pair and say no and, you know, get with whoever you really want, or you can have the decency to divorce, separate, something, work out some arrangement. It's just not right to do this. It's just weird. Now, another comment from Fairy Fart Daydreams. I like this username. Very interesting. Not the whole birds of a feather flock together is an expression for a reason. I would be questioning your husband's values if all his friends cheat. My biggest question is was he friends with them before they start cheating or was he friends with them after the cheating? Because if so, how do you coincidentally, I guess, meet all these friends who are openly cheating on their wives? Is this some sort of boys club, membership you have to sign up? It's like maybe questionnaire when you sign up. Would you ever cheat on your wife? If you check yes, you're accepted. Like it just feels so odd. Now, this is a question I've always had. Do guys like overlook each other's cheating? Like, is that a guy code thing?
Um, Not for me personally, but I think especially in the media and I would say maybe movies pre like early 2000s or
Yeah.
that era prior, I think it is more or less like maybe normalized to say that,
Hmm.
oh, it's bro code. You're not supposed to rat out your friends for cheating, etc. Which for me personally, that's immoral. I would not ever do that. If I found out that my friend was actively cheating and being okay with that, then I would probably not be friends with that person.
There's a phrase of, oh, I take a bullet for you. Yeah, like I'll do this and this for you. When I think about it, if I knew any of my best friends were openly cheating on their husband, I think I would say something. I would call it out just because it's just not the right thing to do. And I wouldn't want my friend to do the wrong thing, if it makes sense. It's almost like I wouldn't want to be your cheerleader in a bad situation. So I think I'd probably distance myself from that friend as well. If I don't confront them first. So we start off kind of strong with our first story. And if you guys want to hear more like this, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys, please. And if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to give me 5 stars, guys. 5 stars. Now, this is the moment you guys have probably been waiting for. It is time, dun, 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 for our wild pick. Now, wild pick is just that, a story that's a little kooky, a little bit chaotic, but I felt like you guys needed to hear this one. This story is from the subreddit AITAH. Am I the a-hole for suing my best friend of 13 years after he pushed me into shark-infested waters as a prank? A lot of times, these stories, we get situations that I feel like test the friendship. In this case, my first question for OP actually is, are you sure this is your best friend, or is this someone who's been plotting your downfall for 13 years? Because there are many ways to prank someone. There's almost like, oh, prank someone with like a check for $100, right? That's a prank I can get behind. Or prank someone with a seafood buffet. Like that, definitely for sure. And if any of my friends are listening, feel free. If you feel the urge to prank me, please do. Please send like one of those like fruit basket bouquets or something to my house. Anything food, I love. But pushing someone into shark-infested waters, this sounds almost like one of those cartoon villain stories where the villain dangles someone over sharks or something, or forces them to jump into the ocean. What in the... Okay, but before we judge, we must see. What? You look like you want to say...
I might sound like an a-hole here, and I'm not justifying pushing anyone in the water as a prank. But it seems like the shark-infested waters part is like a dramatization or whatever you
Oh,
want
you
to
think
call
they're
it.
exaggerating? Like OP's like, oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah, like statistically and realistically, the odds of
Oh,
you being even bitten by a shark or being eaten by a shark in that case are very minimal. So
I love our different approaches. I'm over here like, okay, there must be some conspiracy going on with this best friend, because how does one like orchestrate a whole like shark infested like prank, right? And then or I guess I forgot to introduce you guys. My fiance M, also known as Mr. Deep Voice, is out here logically thinking about the statistical like realities of, okay, who gets bitten by a shark? What are the odds? And let me tell you guys, this is exactly how we are with watching movies. I'm over here horrified for the main characters of any series we watch, or I'm believing it. I'm a gullible viewer. I will believe exactly what the scenes show me. Oh, best friend has like 2 mistresses and is hiding the fact that he has a secret identity as like a supervillain. Cool. I believe it. You don't need to tell me twice. Bombs in the ocean in the special effects. Cool. I believe that. Meanwhile, if we watch these types of fantastical or even like action movies, M's over here like, okay, but this is not science. This doesn't even make sense. You can't, that wouldn't explode, or that's not how this works. And it's just, it destroys the magicalness of it sometimes. But also makes me feel a little bit better for OP in this case, because maybe OP, you are the a-hole for being pushed into shark infested waters, because you know what? There were no sharks all along. So
hey, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But let's see. OP says, I, 27-year-old male, have been best friends with male, 27-year-old male for 13 years. Dang, I love how we don't even get a fake name here. We just get, he is male, 27. That's his name, M27. We've always been super close. Last week, we went on vacation to a beach state and everything was going great until this happened. We were hanging out near a pier taking pictures. There were hammerhead sharks in the water, clearly visible but far enough away. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he shoves me into the water. I freaked out, screaming, thinking I could die. Thankfully, a lifeguard pulled me out right away, but I was absolutely terrified. When I got out, I saw my friend laughing and filming the whole thing. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even say a word. I just went back to the hotel, packed up, and finished the trip on my own. It's not funny. It's not funny, guys. Pushing someone into the ocean is not funny. But it's so ridiculous. I was going to say who does this, but you see videos online of this all the time of people who do this. So you tell me these two guys, like, you're nearing 30, by the way. Not that 30 is old before you guys come for me. But like, you are grown adults. This is something I pictured like teenagers or kids would do to each other. I have been shoved into a pool by kids and actually adults. So maybe this is not that far out and weird, to be honest. You're telling me your friend just decided, oh, it'd be really funny if I shoved you into the ocean right now. Just so casual. Like, I, um, I'm genuinely confused. Uh, is he trying to kill you? I think this is like, what? This is so wild to me. And also, did OP know how to swim? On a serious note, I think this is such a bad idea because what if your friend doesn't know how to swim? Or worse, they know how to swim, but you can still get cramps and drown. That's a thing, people. Like, people still drown. It's so weird to me that it's in 2024 and people still drown for some reason. I feel like we have evolved as a species now that water should not be our greatest enemy to some of us. But it happens. It happens. It's still a dangerous thing. You get taken by a riptide, or I guess a hammerhead shark could like come and just chomp you up and like carry you out to the ocean. Like, that's a thing too. But I can't imagine a scenario where I would ever knowingly shove someone, even if it's my best friend or even M over here, into the ocean. If you did that, I would be livid. Oh my gosh.
I would never do that. To me, shoving someone in the water,
It's kind of like a dangerous prank when you think about it.
I don't know if I even consider it a prank. It's just stupid. To me, it's on the same lines of, as a few stories ago mentioned, the cake in the face type of prank.
Oh yeah, like smashing cakes and
Yeah, it's just, why is that funny?
See, I thought pranks are supposed to be funny. Like, that's why they're a prank. Like, you do something to get a laugh. But sometimes it just feels like you're being an a-hole for no reason. Like, you just want to like do something bad to someone, like get it out of your system, and then people just dub it as a prank.
I mean, especially where someone can get hurt. Like,
Yeah.
even so, like pushing someone in the water, like, okay, even if they can swim, what if they're not ready and they're, I don't know, hit their head on a rock or something?
Yeah.
It's just,
Oh.
I mean, not that I'm excusing this. I can see a kid doing that because
Right,
they're
like
not
not
thinking
knowing or
and
ignorant.
thinking it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, but an adult, that is just, yeah, that's not funny. I mean, even if the kid were to do that, I would not find it funny.
I mean, it's pretty bad because you can tell OP really panicked to the point where he's screaming, he's freaked out, and then a lifeguard had to pull him out. So it's pretty bad. It's not like OP's like, that's so funny. You pushed me into the ocean. Like, oh, let's see how the friend reacts. OP says, later that night, he sent me the video making fun of the whole thing. I felt so humiliated and betrayed. He literally put my life in danger for a joke. When I got home, I talked to a lawyer and decided to sue him. I used the video as evidence and he was served papers yesterday. He called me and he's now furious, saying it was just a joke and that I'm overreacting after 13 years of friendship. Am I the a-hole?
No.
No! If anything, oh my gosh. I get if you're just dumb. Like, there are some dumb adults, grown adults out there. Like, you age physically, may be old, but mentally you just never matured past 15. I was going to say I get it. I don't. There are some adults like that. And we all met at least one of them in our lives. But what bothers me is that the friend doubled down. You see that your friend almost drowned. A lifeguard had to go in and do the whole Baywatch situation on him. And then he's clearly freaked out. And you're laughing and filming? It's such poor taste. No, down with the friendship. I don't care how long you've been. I don't care if you were holding hands in the womb. I don't care if that's a sibling. You're dead to me. Just
dead?
Okay. In light of the whole drowning comment. Okay, not dead. Metaphorically, you're done. We are no contact. Oh. Do you think this is one of those things that you can just get over in a friendship? Like, big enough? Or do you think you would hesitate because of the 13-year bond that you have?
I would not hesitate.
He's gambling with your life, OP. I think the minute someone's willing to gamble your life, it's done. All bets are off. Oh, that was a pretty good pun, wasn't it, guys? Get it? Gambling with life, bets are off. Why are you shaking your head? That was a good one. I was sorry. I've been like punless for a while. I thought that was a really good one. Came out natural too, right?
Give it 4 out of 10.
I thought that was at least a 6 out of 10. So, by the way, I want to comment on the fact that I love that OP's taking the legal route. Usually people just go no contact and then there's drama back and forth. I love that OP's diving into, you know what? Let me put this through the system. I don't know how this works. If anyone has any legal experience, but when you decide to sue someone, how does this work in court? Is this like a people's court thing where it's like Judge Judy on TV and you kind of, you go to court and you say, Your Honor, my best friend tried to drown me. And then it's almost like, do you have a jury for this? How does this work? And what is the winning? Like, how does the winning work? Like, is the best friend going to be fined for like mental damages or something or emotional distress? Like, how does this work?
I think they're going the route of, I guess, the civil case here.
Yeah. But wouldn't you still sue someone over, is it money? Like,
I think it will
winning?
come down to money here. There's unless they, I guess, reported it to police and etc. I don't know.
Well, I hope friend is going to learn a lesson after this to not be an a-hole and try to endanger people's life for a laugh. But we'll see. Let's see what the first comment says. First one from Blue Eyed. I would choose the sharks over your friend, not the a-hole. And someone responded, sharks can't betray you. They can only sharkly, and you expect them to do just that. That's true. I would take a chance with the sharks, to be honest. If I was in a situation where you got to hang out with this friend in the woods or you got to hang out with a few sharks, I would pick the sharks too. Because at least the sharks aren't plotting your downfall. And as Em mentioned, the odds of you getting actually bitten by a shark is fairly low.
But it happens. It could happen.
Oh my God. This is not helping the odds. Another comment from Actual Clue. Not they whole. He's a dick. He shouldn't have endangered 13 years of friendship by scaring the shit out of you and possibly injuring you for chuckles. Yeah, I agree. Ooh, someone shared their own story. Or I guess a story they heard. Comment from One Low. I read a story some years ago about a bridesmaid who pushed the bride into the pool as a joke. Bride broke her neck and was left paralyzed. It's not funny to do pranks like that. Not they whole. That's horrible.
Yeah, I'm thinking especially with like, let's say it's a wedding dress.
Oh,
that'd be horrible. You can probably drown very easily with that because the dress would go like
it would be
above
pretty
your
heavy.
head, right?
Oh,
And
you're right.
will get tangled in. That's not a joke there.
And you probably have difficulty moving too because usually dresses, there's lots of
Yeah.
fabric and stuff. And especially if you're unprepared for the impact. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. See, I don't get it. So there isn't a verdict yet, but looking at all the comments that we have on this story, not the a-hole. Although I do wish and hope that Opie ends up updating maybe with whether or not he won the case against his best friend. I wish you best of luck, Opie. And may you find a new friend that possibly won't plot for your downfall and shove you into the ocean. So our next story is from the subreddit AITH. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my husband after finding out he's secretly dating our babysitter and got her fired? I, 30-year-old female, have been with my husband, 33-year-old male, for 6 years. We have a daughter, 2 years old, and for almost a year now, we've had this babysitter, Anna, 22-year-old female, who we hired through an agency. She was honestly amazing with our daughter. Like, she was always full of energy, patient, and super responsible. She just fit in so well with our family that it almost felt like she was part of it. Little did OP know she was part of it. My daughter loves her. A few weeks ago, though, I started noticing something kind of weird between her and my husband. Like, they were texting a lot, and not just about our daughter or the schedule, but like jokes and random stuff. When I asked my husband, he said it was just small talk, and I felt silly for even bringing it up, so I dropped it. I hate the fact that sometimes you can be, you can do everything right and your partner will still F things up for you. That's so annoying to me. Like, I just hear OP's thoughts and kind of rationalizing, like, oh, there are some weird signs. He's texting our babysitter a lot, far more than usual. They're doing small talk. It's unprofessional behavior. But you know what? I'm going to trust him because I'm not insecure. I am in a healthy, committed relationship where I trust my partner. And then bam, he's sleeping with a babysitter, isn't he? Like, is he sleeping with the babysitter in their home? I'm going to be livid if that's the case. Opie says, then last week I came home from work earlier than I was supposed to. The second I walked in, I saw my husband and Anna sitting really close together on the couch, whispering. They both jumped up and acted super awkward. I was honestly shocked and didn't know what to say at first. Later that night, I confronted my husband about it, and after a lot of back and forth, he finally admitted he'd been seeing Anna for the past couple weeks. He claims nothing physical has happened, but it's still a massive betrayal to me. Like, whether they slept together or not, he crossed a huge line. I see. Maybe I'm a weirdo for this. But the minute things got into emotional cheating, like I define emotional cheating as once you have some sort of emotional, like mental investment, you guys are carrying on the vibe of being in a relationship with someone other than me. Even if you didn't like, make out or hold hands or sleep together, it's done. I just think it's done. I'm like, no, 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 no. You can't cheat on me in your imagination, in your mind, too, The physical one is just kind of like, okay, yeah, you went physical. But the emotional aspect for me cannot be overlooked. So I'm kind of mad that Opie's husband immediately played the, don't worry, we didn't sleep with each other yet. And yes, I added the yet here because I think it was just a matter of time. I imagine that they're just sitting together on the couch and they're like, giggling, like, so funny, whispering, giggle, giggle. And then Opie comes in, they're like, when you're really caught off guard or someone's caught in the act and the reaction's almost like, act normal. And they freeze instead. That's what I'm imagining. Like all of a sudden they got up and like stood on the opposite sides of the room or something as if, that would make it less weird and less suspicious. In your own home with someone who's babysitting your kid, gross. Opie says, but it gets worse. I was furious and wanted to report her to the agency for being unprofessional. But when I called them, they told me my husband had already called earlier that day. Apparently, he made up some BS story about her being unreliable and got her fired from the agency. He says he did it to protect us because things were getting messy, but I honestly think he's just trying to cover his own tracks. You thought right, OP. What a weirdo. What a complete unhinged weirdo. The husband, not OP. So you're telling me OP waited till the nighttime. Like, let's run over this timeline. OP comes home earlier from work. She catches them basically in the act, like, having a little moment on the couch, whatever. She waits until nighttime to confront her husband. But in that time between, I guess, the evening and I'm assuming like an hour or two and the nighttime when OP calls out the husband has moved fast and moved quick. Oh my God. So he's calling up the agency and he's like, I'd like to report and fire her. I'd like you to fire her right now. She's unreliable. So you are going to professionally damage her reputation, even though she's the woman you've been seeing for a few weeks. Not that I'm on the babysitter side. She's definitely in the wrong, right? She's definitely the other woman here. But the speed at which husband turned on the babysitter was so fast. I'm getting whiplash. I am just like, when did he decide to do that? The minute he got caught, he's like, okay, this is messy. I need to like end this right now. So she was disposable. That's what it feels like. It feels like she was just kind of like a fling, not that important. But in turn, if you treat the woman you're cheating with as a fling, it also says how much you value your wife in the relationship. Is that weird? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? It's almost like wife is just prop one and then babysitter was prop two for a good time. He's an a-hole. Like, it's not even, is he an a-hole in this situation? No. Generally, OP respectful. Actually, no. Disrespectfully, your husband's an a-hole. Am I wrong? That is some wild, like, tape to slap on this situation.
Yeah, in regards to making up whatever the story he made up about the babysitter, I think he's wrong for that. I think he should have said the truth basically told the truth to the agency. And I think in any case, the babysitter would have gotten fired if the agency is any good. Because I don't think you're really supposed to have a relationship with
Right.
your
Conflict
client.
of
Yeah,
interest.
yeah,
Like,
with
right.
the client or etc. Whatever you want to call the.
Oh, he's more than her client. He's paying
Yeah,
her bills and paying her. Well, she's paying him visits. So
yeah. In any case, so yeah, for that he's also I think wrong because he didn't tell the truth.
I I just feel like it's so oddly vindictive. Like it's so out of nowhere because I think it's one thing to let her go, right? To just say, I don't want this service anymore. I want to switch to a different babysitter, right? But to go as far as to make sure she's not hired, like she is not working at where she's working, her professional reputation is like in the freaking dumpster, that's almost vengeful. It's crazy to me how like quickly he jumped there.
I agree, but at the same time, I don't know how would one bring that up to towards the agency that.
Well,
Well,
you
I've been
sleeping with the baby,
well not
or
sleeping.
okay,
I've been having a relationship with this babysitter.
and I think it's a
Uh,
conflict of interest. So I'd like to
then
switch to another. I mean, he could even just say, right? Hey, I just, we want a different babysitter. No reason. We just feel like, we're not clicking or something. He could have made up any reason to have her removed. And he chose for the jugular. Let me make up this whole like story. He already had a story. I don't know why he didn't go with his current story. I mean, well, probably embarrassing. Can you imagine being the agency worker who's on call with him? And he goes, so I would like to replace my babysitter. Oh, why? Is she bad? No, no, no. She's great with my daughter. Okay, then what seems to be the issue? Well, she's also great with me. That, what would one say to that? I just imagine agency's just like, well, sir.
I mean, jokes aside, I think that would have been a uh, better conversation or better thing to say because that's
That's true.
actually the truth, at
Right.
least from the
Well,
OP's husband side.
does husband look like he's like the jar of truth here? He just seems he
Uh,
seems unhinged.
yeah, I mean, at the same time, I don't want to also let the whole well, we didn't like the baby. Like, I guess let the whole situation fly off. Well, we didn't like the babysitter, so we would just like someone else, or we would no longer need your services. I think that is also letting the babysitter
Oh, go
off the
for
hook
what she
because
did.
I mean,
That's true.
you can't say that she wasn't wrong as well. She
Right,
knows
right,
that
right.
the OP's husband is also a husband, right? He's married,
Yeah.
so she's kind of also
She's a home wrecker.
right.
Okay, you know what's funny? So with the whole home babysitter situation, right? I've heard from relatives before. From some relatives, I will not name names. So guys, sit back in your seats. There's no tea to be spilled. Other than this, I, a tip or word of advice or something I've heard from other relatives who remain non-disclosed here. They've said if you hire someone to work in your house, especially for like cleaning, house cleaning, or support with anything like that, right? Always make sure they're ugly and old. And I'm like, that is so I just this sounds like a story that came out of a Wattpad novel or one of those kinky like self-written like, you know, things you read on the internet. It just sounds so weird. Like they have to know. Opie's husband has to know how cliche this situation is. I mean, horrible for OP. Don't get me wrong. Very horrible. But as an observer, I'm just like, you are literally living the plot line of like Pretty Little Liars, of Vampire Diaries, of a bunch of like, CW 2000 shows, like where the plotline isn't that great, but like the drama keeps you watching. It's kind of like that. So, you know what pisses me off though? The fact that he did this, didn't tell his wife. His wife called in to do it, and yet she finds out he already got to it first. And he says, no, no, babe, I did it to protect us because things are messy. Things are only messy because you shit the bed. Like, I'm so confused how he has managed to spin this around and be like, I did it for us. You and me. When did this become an us thing?
I think he realistically did it to save his own ass because he
Oh,
got
yeah.
caught, probably panicked, like, oh crap, I'm in
He's damage control.
damage control here.
Oh, he's like, oh, because now I bet you he's telling the wife, Oh, you know what, babe? Look, I'm taking measures. We'll never see her again. Don't you worry about it. Okay, but what about the next babysitter? I would not trust this man. I just would not. I'm sorry. It's just, well, I'm not sorry. He's unreliable. And he comes off very unhinged. I know I've said that before already about him, but he scares me a little bit. Kind of terrifying. No, OP says, now I want to break up with him. I feel completely betrayed by the two people I trusted around my daughter, but he's acting like I'm overreacting and says I'd be throwing away our family if I left him over this misunderstanding. That's my favorite. I feel like there should be a dictionary published for like most used words for, you know how there's a list for most popular names for the year? We should have a list for most used words for cheaters. It's almost like the cheater's guideline. It's like step 1, pretend that you did something to fix it, and then spin it around your partner and say, but it's for us. I did this for us. Step 2, accuse your partner who didn't cheat for throwing away the family. And step 3, final one, really hammer this one in, that if your partner tries to do anything like move on from the relationship or dump you, it's their fault because this was all a misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's unethical business idea. It's like like cheater's guide or cheater's excuse guide or something like that.
Cheating 101.
Yeah.
I swear though, it's almost like the vocabulary is the same. Like no matter what language, same thing. It's like a universal cheater's guide. I will say this though. OP, I have a question. Is your husband a lawyer? Because he seems really good at this whole like flipping it on you situation. Does he do this for a living? Does he sell, I don't know, insurance? Or does he sell cars? Is he like a sleazy car salesman? No offense to actual car salesmen. I don't think the profession's sleazy. I'm just saying there's like the stereotype. I feel like some of you guys are going to come for me for this. I'm sorry, guys, if you are a car salesman. But it just sounds like one of those like, hey, I got a good deal for you. This is a horrible deal, but you should take it because I'm doing this for you. It feels like that. I feel the grease all over me. Gross. OP is a better person than I am. I would have zero patience to listen to this BS. And yes, this is a very enthusiastic drop the D divorce it is. OP says, I don't know what to do anymore. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave him after this? Is it really as bad as I feel like it is? Or am I overreacting? You are not overreacting. OP, do not let the slimy person, human, husband, ex-husband, do this to you. I hate it. I hate it so much that OP is like wavering. You could feel it. She's like, okay, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. But wait, am I overreacting? Oh, wait, but he basically is trying to help and isn't going to meet her anymore. But I'm still pissed. Like, what?
I mean, let's get the facts straight, right? He got caught cheating.
Yes.
That's it. So for the OP, it's what do you want to do about it? Do you want to work through it potentially, or you want to divorce? Right?
Well, she made it clear she wants to break up.
Yeah, but she's wavering about whether she's overreacting or not. I mean,
because now, well,
it's not a misunderstanding.
Oh, misunderstanding?
Right? Misunderstanding, yes.
Misunderstandment. I'm pissed because it's almost, you know what it feels like? It bothers me. There's this trope. And Em and I have been watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. Love the show. Very funny. It's set in like late 60s, right? No, late 50s. Late 50s, early 60s. Show's very fun. Oh, the outfit choice is amazing. I highly recommend if you're looking for something that's like entertaining, interesting, very quirky, very funny, and lots of costume changes and dynamic characters, that's a show for you. But basically, main character, wife and husband, like the Midge, and her husband, Mr. Maisel, Joel, right? His name is Joel. So he cheats on her, right? But I hate that I'm in season 2 right now and they're having this, sorry, spoiler guys, but they have this kind of back and forth weirdness between them where, long story short, they get together again. But it's so weird because how they get together is basically husband cheat on her. And so he left the relationship. And then they get back together by her cheating on her fiance. And then it's kind of like they have this weird dynamic throughout where it's almost like you don't know whether they're going to get together again or they're going to stay separate. And this is how I feel about it. I feel like, OP, just dump him. Like, here's the thing. Here's what I think is the biggest reason for this. I feel like I'm creating a petition for why you should dump your husband. Hello, stranger on the internet who doesn't know me. This is why you should dump your husband. But if you didn't catch him, how long would it have gone on? And he can say that he didn't sleep with her. Doesn't make the situation any better. I think there's no trust here. OP, clearly your husband does not value you as a person and your relationship because he's the one that threw it all away, quote unquote, using his words, right? For what? For something that wasn't even serious enough? And to the point where he was, ready to blacklist the babysitter that quickly in one afternoon. He didn't even need to sleep on it. He said, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Is this the type of guy that you want to be spending the rest of your life with, OP? Me being an unmarried woman commenting on someone's marriage. But for real, from a girl to girl, OP, this is not it. But let's see what the comments say. First comment from Candid Process. Not the a-hole. Massive betrayal on his side. He's the a-hole. OP responds. I know he's the a-hole. I can't believe he dated our babysitter. Another comment from Scorvia. Not the a-hole. Your husband was already cheating on you and was just a matter of time before he effed the nanny. Report the nanny to the company. Maybe she's used to effing the parents of the children she takes care of. A person like that should be kept away from any child. Your husband filed a complaint just to save his own ass. That's very clear. Please leave him. A guy who cheats on his wife in his own home with a trusted person is just a trashy husband. OP says thank you. So I'm pretty sure this comment was before OP mentioned and maybe updated the post about finding out about husband reporting the nanny. But I agree with all the comments. Oh, there's a quick update though. Question from one of the comments from No Functions. Not the whole, you did report the real reason though, right? So OP responds, yes, I did. That's so satisfying. So satisfying. Now, I kind of overlooked the fact that not only did the husband cheat, I was honing more on the cheating part, but to cheat with a trusted person and in your own home, there's no justification. Now, our last story is from the subreddit, Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my brother-in-law pay for vacation after he's repeatedly called me a gold digger? I'm feeling like a lot of these stories, they really open my eyes. Well, at least OP's eyes are opened in a not so favorable way in terms of their husbands and friends. But let's see what's the deal with this one. OP says, I, 30-year-old female, have been married to my husband, 32-year-old male, for 5 years. We both work hard and are pretty comfortable financially. My husband does earn more than I do, but we've always seen it as our money. We're a team and split responsibilities equally. The issue is my brother-in-law, 34-year-old male. For years, he's made these jokes about me being a gold digger because my husband earns more. It's always in front of people, and while I usually just laugh it off to avoid making things awkward, it really bothers me. I've always worked. I contribute to our household, and it's frustrating to have that constantly dismissed, like I'm just living off my husband. I didn't realize it now, but a lot of these stories have some sort of pranks or jokes gone wrong. Why is it that family members feel so entitled to comment on someone else's financial situation? The same way with relationship issues and arguments between couples, financial situations between couples, unless they're asking for help actively, right? It's between party A and party B. And this time I did not mix it up, guys, and say party one and party B, okay? Party one, A and party B. And everyone else should see their way out of it. That's how I feel like it should be. First thing that comes to mind, though, is, Opie, what has your husband said about this? Because if brother-in-law feels so entitled to make all these comments out loud, is everyone else saying something about it? Is your husband calling him out? Because in my opinion, he should, if he hasn't already. And the fact that these jokes have been made for years, that's just uncomfortable. Because what's the joke? Look at OP. She's a gold digger. She can't do anything without her husband, and she's leeching off of him financially. How was that funny? How on earth is that funny? Now OP says, Recently, my brother in law and his wife asked us to help cover their part of a family vacation because they can't afford to go on their own. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. That's just irony right there. My husband and I talked about it, and while we could help, I really don't feel comfortable after all the times he's disrespected me. When I said no, my brother in law tried to laugh it off, saying I was overreacting and that it was all just harmless jokes. I'm honestly over it. Now he's upset, and my in laws are saying I'm making a big deal out of nothing, and that family helps family. My husband has my back, but I can't help second guessing myself. Am I being too sensitive here? Am I the a hole for refusing to help because of how he's been treating me? No, 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 no. I am so annoyed. I think it is like the funniest twist of fate that for all the financial kind of verbal slaps that OP's been enduring from brother in law, he's the one that actually needs them to help him foot the bill for a family vacation. And okay, I don't want to go a Caleb Hammer here, but if you need financial a financial loan from anybody to go on a vacation, odds are you probably shouldn't be going on that vacation. Like, I think vacations are wonderful and I support everyone to go on a vacation if they can. My problem is it's also a luxury. Like, let's be real. It is a luxury to be able to spend time, not work, and do fun things. It really is. So the fact that brother-in-law is ready to take a loan, I wonder if it's jealousy fueling all of his pranks. Financial jealousy of the couple, of OP and her husband, of saying, oh, look at you. You don't have to do much, but blah, blah, blah. You're a gold digger. To say that, it feels like brother-in-law probably pays a lot more attention to his brother-in-law's, or I guess OP's husband and OP's financial wealth than he lets on. Because I feel like that's probably on your mind if you're making jokes about it all the time. Because why else would you care?
I think if I had to guess, I think it has to do with OP's brother-in-law's. Is it brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Yeah, his stuff, I guess, insecurity or jealousy. I mean, one of those or combination of that, or maybe something else. But that's what I would think.
I think you're right. It screams insecurity. And I hate that OP's standing her ground and saying, nope, I'm not loaning you anything because you've been a jerk to me all these years. He's just going to laugh it off and say, oh, you're overreacting. Like, to double down
Right.
instead of apologizing.
I mean, it's a common trope, right? Like we've heard these stories before where
Why?
one family member is being an a-hole to another family member. They get called out for it or they ask for a favor. The other family member says no.
That's how they react.
And then basically parents are like,
oh no,
family
do
is family. Water under the bridge. Forget about it without a proper apology. Like that's a trope right here. It happens so many times. Like there's so many stories that fit into this.
I hate this. I literally hate this. And I'm laughing because whenever Em says family, I think of what's his name?
Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious.
Vin Diesel. I don't know why I was gonna say Tarantino. I feel like I'm mixing up movies. But one of those Fast and Furious.
What is it?
Oh, it's Toretto. That's why. Right? His character name. Vin Diesel's character name.
Oh, well,
Toretto?
Actually, within Fast and Furious is
Yeah. Right?
Toretto is the last name, I think. What's the first name?
I don't know.
Vince? No, not Vince.
Is it Vince?
It
can't
right.
be. His name can't be Vin playing Vince. I mean, okay, you guys will have to correct us on this. What is the guy's name? The bald dude. I hate to call him bald dude. Bald dude who's the main character of the Fast and Furious franchise, who says family. Like, he always says it. So whenever I hear the word family, I just think Vin Diesel. It's so funny. But this is not a family helps family, water under the bridge situation. It's years. I mean, OP, you have been far too patient for my liking, but I would have said something. I would have been like, all right, let's air this out. Why do you keep saying gold digger? Like, why? Let's hash this out right now. Do you honestly believe that? Because if so, you're an idiot. In a family like this, it's always like you have that obnoxious person and then you have their two cheerleaders who are like, oh, obnoxious person can do no wrong. Family is family. Like, it's fine. Oh, or they're just always like that. Or you know how they are. I'm like, okay, so are we going to excuse this behavior? I don't care that you're related to me. What does that have to do with your behavior? You're obnoxious, you know? I just feel like they're two separate things. Like, whether we're related by blood versus what you did, your actions, and how I feel about them. They're two separate things. But I feel like somehow, all of a sudden, like It's like my dad. Like if I call him out, my dad's all of a sudden, it's funny. Like it sounds so hilarious, guys. But if I get in an argument with my dad, right, on a principle of something, he'll first go to the logic argument. Well, I did this because XYZ. And I'll be like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense because that's not what you said before. And eventually, all our arguments lead to the same core thing. Eventually, if he feels like he's quote unquote losing or he's losing ground on the logic side, he goes, I'm your father. I'm not kidding with you. That has been a legit argument. Dad provides a point that makes no sense. Me provides counter argument. Eventually, 5 points later, Dad, I am your father. You can't speak to me like that. And I'm like, Dad, you're wrong though. Like, just, you're my dad, but you can also be wrong. They're not like magically two mutually exclusive things. Like, I mean, no, they are mutually exclusive, right? They're not inclusive things. They're mutually exclusive. I don't know. Would you call out your parent if they're like that? Or would you give up? I feel like a lot of people would just give up and be like, he's old. He's set in his ways. Yada, yada, yada. Family, family.
I think it depends on what it is. Like if it's a small thing that is insignificant, I might let it go or let it fly. So I don't think it's just family, like family
Family. You
exclusive
gotta say it
thing,
like that.
right? I mean,
Family.
in general, it's like if it's insignificant, I might just let it fly. But if it's something I find, for example, immoral or
Where it
wrong,
means something, like a
yeah,
heavier topic. Yeah.
then I will call someone out for it, including my family.
I think you're way more lenient with it than I am, though. It's almost like playing baseball. Coming from someone who's not played baseball or isn't a fan of watching baseball at all. For me, I'm willing to let it go like first few times because I'm thinking, oh, maybe there's other circumstance or maybe they're busy or they might not have reacted in the best way, whatever. I try to give my family members benefit of the doubt or whoever, right? But once it's like the third time, it's almost like the third strike or like however many times, one can only take so much nonsense. I'll just go, you're wrong. You're my dad, but you're so wrong. So I am feeling OP's frustration here. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to not only call your own family members out, but to call your in laws out. I think it gets kind of dicey. In my opinion, a husband should have stepped in and said something because almost like me and Em, I feel like we take on the philosophy of if it's my family, I'll handle it. If it's his family, he'll generally handle it. We're almost like the go betweens, the ambassadors between the, partner versus family. So I do think husband should have stood up for OP sooner because she says husband has her back. But I mean, does he say anything though? Because this whole thing's for years. And if it seems like brother-in-law respects the husband more so much, why has he continued to say it? Or is he saying it when husband isn't around? Let's see what the comments say. First comment from Po Adam. Not they all. It blows my mind how often people get called out on their BS and fail to apologize properly. Brother-in-law could very easily have said something like, I'm sorry, you're rightly calling me out on this item as I see how my asking for money after teasing you about being a gold digger comes off very badly. I thought I was joking, but it's clear now that my comments were hurtful and were not actually funny. I'm sorry for that and won't make these comments in the future. Perhaps if he'd done that, you might have reconsidered, but instead he told you the jokes were harmless, likely said you were overreacting, and then got your in-laws involved. Poor choice. Oh, that's true. Why would the in-laws say something if they didn't know that OP said no? Right? So he probably said, Mom, Dad, went home crying. Mom, Dad, sister-in-law, and brother won't lend me my money. Boo-hoo, because I called her gold digger.
I think he left out that part in the last one.
Oh, he probably did. He's probably just saying like, oh, she's just being petty about something I said. Probably.
I don't think he's even saying that.
You don't think so? So
think
he's just
it's just-
complaining like, oh, they won't give me money?
If I had to guess, but in any case, for them to still push for the OP to lend the brother-in-law money, I think that is keep going to the word immoral, but it's just not right.
I get a little bit iffy about lending family members money, like the concept of it, because, okay, if an institution lends you money, oh, they're going to try and get that money back. When you use a credit card, that's you literally borrowing money to buy something, right? And anyone who's used a credit card knows, oh, they want their money back. And if you don't, there are consequences. Like you get your credit card credit card score lowered, like all of that, right? With family, I don't know. I've seen a lot of cases where it goes badly because if a family member doesn't give you back money, what are you going to do? Harass them? Bring them to court? Like, sure, you can, but good luck with doing that without like other family members whispering in your ear about how you're horrible for, holding your, I guess, loanee accountable, right? It's just, I don't know. This is rough. Like, even without the history, I think OP is fully justified in not loaning money. It's her money, her husband's money. Technically, no one's entitled to your money, right? I think it's just weird that this gold digger comment is cherry on the top. Like, it's an added layer of why they're saying no. But in the first place, they really shouldn't be pressured into loaning any money at all.
Right. I would just want to add that in general, I think the whole lending money to family idea is I think complicated, has many nuances. But if this is not an emergency, it's not
Oh,
like
yeah.
a health thing or something that your family
Unavoidable. Yeah.
needs, right? Then it is, you don't have to lend the money. And
Uh,
it's wrong to say, and I think it's wrong to also pressure other family members or say things about it. They say, "Oh, why didn't you lend the money for a vacation?" Like, I mean, it's just
it's
not
so
right.
it's so crazy to me because they're making this big deal and it's not even for a real, like, legit reason to me. The reason would be health thing, like you said, or something horrible, like the storm, like a freaking storm ruined their house or something, or they're homeless.
Yeah,
Whatever.
basically emergency,
Yeah,
in my
emergency.
opinion.
It's just so uncomfortable to me because everyone's making it seem like Opie and husband are heartless. And I'm like, he wants the money for a vacation. This is not like a surgery, a life-saving
Right.
surgery. It's just it's weird because even then, like, I'm trying to think of when I borrowed money before. The last time I remember borrowing money is, I think, back when I was in like kindergarten. Like, my last memory. Okay, you might be wondering, why is a kindergartner borrowing money? So in my school, we used to have this thing where, okay, if you want to buy a pretzels back then were like 50 cents. These pretzels were always like delivered fresh to the school and they were delicious. My favorite part is the middle. The center of the pretzel is always the best part. I stand by that. And if they're a cheese pretzel, oh my God, that's delicious. Anyways, back to my point. So one day I forgot my 50 cents at home, right? But it's not like if you don't have money, you don't get a pretzel. So I think I asked my friend, I don't know why it occurred to me. I'm like, hey, do you have 50 cents? Can I borrow it? I'll give it back to you tomorrow. But I remember the distinct feeling of feeling disgusted with myself. As a kindergarten, I was like, oh, I can't believe this is so embarrassing. How do I forget 50 cents at home? But my embarrassment and shame over forgetting 50 cents was far lower than my desire for the dang pretzels. So shame lost, desire for eating won. I mean, moral of the story here is, after eating the pretzel, I was still really upset about borrowing 50 cents. I mean, it's not like I, pressured my friend and said, you better give me that 50 cents or else. It's more like I don't like owing someone. It feels like there's almost like an invisible, like, I mean, this is going to sound dramatic, invisible chain when you're on a loan or you have debt. It just feels a little bit heavy. Like, you're not completely like a blank slate, It's almost like a -1. You're starting from a -1 step. Is that weird? You know what I'm saying? The feeling?
I can see that.
Yeah. So I remember I was so like crazy about it. As a kid, I remember going home and saying, oh my God, I really need 50 cents. I need to remember the 50 cents tomorrow. And then, yeah, I did. I just grabbed the 50 cents and gave it to my friend the next day. But I remember I was so embarrassed to tell my mom about it. Imagine this little kindergartner me just going like, Mom, I did something horrible today. I borrowed my friend's 50 cents because I forgot my 50 cents for a pretzel. It sounds so dumb. It really is so dumb. But I can only imagine asking my sister or a sibling or a family member for money and they're like, oh, like, you're in need of money? Like, what's wrong? Like, they're probably wondering, oh, what happened? And I'm like, I'm unfortunately in a really bad spot right now. And I need your help. I need your help to fund my vacation. So I want to sip martinis on the beach and I want to go to all-inclusive resort with a massage. And yeah, that's why I need the money. That's my Shark Tank pitch here. I just feel it. I'd be embarrassed. I don't know. Another comment from analyst, not the a-hole. I wouldn't give them a dime, much less for a non-essential vacation. Have a sit down with your husband. He needs to be defending you when his husband denigrates. Denigrates? Never heard of that one. Denigrates you at family events. Opie says, my husband's very protective when it comes to me and is definitely not shy when it comes at defending me in front of my family. I know he clearly doesn't believe the stupid jokes my brother is telling, but it just hurts to hear them. Wait, so the brother is saying it despite every single time him bringing it up? You and your husband are calling him out for it and he still does it for years? I don't know whether to call that idiocy or bravery or just not reading the room, just cluelessness. Maybe this is an issue where some people need to learn a little bit more shame. You know how people say gentle teaching, people, like, what is it? Honey attracts more bees than like, what's the phrase? Honey attracts more bees than nets. I feel like I'm getting this wrong. There's a saying like being sweet, like, you know, almost like being kind or, you know, doing things very soothingly or nicely attracts more like, I guess more of a return on action than being harsh about it. So something about, you guys can correct me. You guys probably know the rest of the saying. Okay, I'm gonna settle with this. With the honey attracts more bees than nets. I'm gonna go with that one. That sounds almost right. I'm almost there, like 90%.
Are bees attracted to honey?
Wait, shoot. Maybe I just have the whole thing wrong.
Maybe you want to say like flowers attract more bees than nets.
You might be right. But then that doesn't sound as pretty. Wait, maybe I could have sworn it's honey attracts more bees.
Are you talking about like wasps and?
Or am I talking about honey and butterflies? But wasps, ew, who wants to have a saying about wasps?
Exactly.
You know what? Fine. Flowers attract more bees. Like, anyways, the saying is if you try to be less confrontational, less aggressive, usually situations will pan out better. No. Clearly, this is not it. Brother needs he needs to go to school. He needs to take an ethics class or something. He needs to take a universal how to not be an a-hole. Or better yet, perhaps he should reflect on his thoughts and then choose to not say them out into the world. I think the world would like him a lot more. Who does this? I just, cringe. We've gotten a lot of like cringe people in these stories, guys. I just don't understand. I don't get it. And also the shamelessness. I think we need more shame. Introduce more shame back in the system. I think people are too used to just saying things and being boldly embarrassing. Let's bring back embarrassment. Can we embarrass the brother into being a better person? Maybe that'll work. Try that, OP. Regardless, the verdict is, unsurprisingly, not the a-hole, and I agree with that. Now, those were all of our stories today. I hope that I've shown you guys a whole new world by showing you the dark side of the people in these stories. I'm just kidding. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like button and smash the subscribe button, guys. Let's get to 3K together. And also, if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to give me 5 stars, please. And I'll see you guys in the next one.